In progress.
Good afternoon, students. First, my apologies that technical issues I had to join late, but good afternoon. I will pick it up. Yes, really apologies. Leave. Good afternoon again. Good afternoon, Soumya. There's so many students today. Very nice. Very good afternoon. Explain going concern exemption. Okay, good. So we So we'll discuss on going concern exemption because this query is being raised since multiple classes. So we'll discuss on going concern exemption. If there's any other queries on input tax credit, like we had some query last week on the circulars, so which were recently added in the May 2025 edition. Actually, September 2025 edition. The thing was already there, but they have added it again now. So we have discussed that also. So any questions you have specifically on ITC also, please let me know. But specifically now we will cover the going concern exemption, even though it is not part of the topic, but this is very important. So we'll discuss on that. Asta, do you want to uh, specifically see the exemption from the book and ask me which page so that we are on the same page there? This chapter's PPT, yes, once this is completed, I will upload it, or probably after today's class, tomorrow itself, I will upload it to Tej Chauhan, so you can review that also. Sure, section 17, subsection 5. Okay, I will make a note of this, what all I have to discuss today. All your doubts first. 5.105 A 17 subsection 5. Okay, the block credit part. We will go through that. Okay. Time limit of RCM. Oh, okay. That also we will go. So first we'll go to 5.105. Voice is clear. Vishnu, please check because nobody else is saying anything about the voice. Should be clear. Just see if it is fine now. Page 8.40 and 8.15. 8.40 and 8.8. Also an example for 16.6 and CSR block credit. Okay. Yeah. 8.5. Sure. Whatever comes excuse me. Sir? Hello?
There is some background noise, sir, from your side.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
और सर ना कुछ टाइम पे ना आवाज फंस के आ रही है ऐसा लग रहा है.
ओके एक 5 मिनट देखिए अगर चेंज होता है तो फिर नेटवर्क चेंज करता हूँ.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So we'll discuss first on 5.105, which is on exemption. Yes, I will share the relevant screen now. So 5.105, what it says is services by way of transfer of a going concern as a whole are an independent part thereof. So what happens is when there are various transactions under GST, which is leviable to tax, correct? Now, whenever there is a supply of goods or supply of services, there is liable to GST. This is clear to us that there has to be supply in supply of what? Supply of goods or services. Now, what happens in case of a business itself is transfer? That is, they're saying that when you transfer a full going concern. Now, what is going concern? Transfer of going concern means transfer of a running business, okay, which is capable of being carried on by the purchaser or and as an independent business, but shall not cover mere or predominant transfer of an activity comprising a service, which means transfer of business for a lump sum consideration, which is commonly referred to as slump sale, is covered by this entry. So when you have the concept of supply, when you sell the whole business, that is also a supply, because that why I'm saying that that is a supply, because it's a service. The definition of service is anything other than goods. So any transfer which you do is liable and treated as a service. Once it is treated as a service, then it is also a goods. It is a supply, because supply should be of what? Goods or service. Transfer of a going concern is definitely not a goods, because it's not a movable property. It is something else. Now, what is that something? It is a service. So that's when it will become taxable. But this exemption is saying that entry number 2 of the exemption notification, service by way of transfer of a going concern. And the business as a whole is getting transferred. Transfer of a going concern as a whole or an independent part. Either that whole business gets transferred completely or a part of it. Even the part of a business gets transferred, that is also treated as exemption. Such sale of business as a whole will comprise comprehensive sale of immovable property, goods, and transfer of unexecuted orders, employees, goodwills, etc. That is when you know under the accounting, what is the meaning of going concern? That is, the business is going on and that whole business is getting transferred. That is the meaning of going concern. Since the transfer in title is not merely a transfer in title of either the immovable property of goods or even both, it may amount to service. That is what I said. It may amount to service, and however, that is getting exempted. The example given here is Royal Hotel Group is in the business of running a chain of restaurants. It intends to sell its business as a going concern. So when the whole business is getting transferred, then it is not required to pay GST because of this exemption, which says that service by way of transfer of a going concern. But the important point is it shall not cover mere or predominant transfer of an activity comprising a service. Like if you are into the business of supply of, say, insurance services. Now you're selling all your insurance business, but you're not selling the full business. You're just selling the insurance sales activities. So it is a supply of service. So instead of you selling, you are giving that activity to another insurance company, right? So that is a predominant transfer of an activity, but your business is still continuing. That is not transfer of a going concern. When the whole business is getting transferred, that is transfer of a going concern. Okay, that is the meaning of service by way of transfer of a going concern. Clear, Asta? When the whole business is getting transferred, that is the meaning of transfer of a going concern. Fine. Transfer of a going concern is clear. The next query is on section 17.5, right? So we'll discuss section 17.5. Then we'll take the other doubts. Section 17.5 is what? Basically, it's a block credit. It says that when your credit is blocked, that is, you will not be able to claim your credit. That is block credit. Now, 17.5, we have various aspects here. Credits are not available even if it is used for business, and All other credits are available, which is used for supply of goods. Which means only generally what we see, what is the credit which is available? All the credits are available, but what is mentioned in 17.5 will not be available. That is a block credit. Now, what are block credits are there? Various credits are there, which is block. First is, I think the person who has asked the query, was there any specific query or you want me to explain the complete 17.5? When you are going for, it's like a revision of the block credit. You want a complete one. Where you're reading through the study material and you didn't understand anything, complete one. ठीक है. So निधि हम क्या करेंगे, ब्लॉक क्रेडिट को हमने यहाँ पे प्रेजेंटेशन में दिया है, उसी के ऑर्डर पे समझ लेंगे. तो जो भी आप व्हीकल्स, प्लेन्स और शिप्स खरीदोगे एज अ बिजनेस, इफ यू बाई व्हीकल्स, प्लेन्स एंड शिप्स, उसके ऊपर यू आर यूजिंग इट फॉर योर बिजनेस, बट फिर भी उसको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा अनलेस इट इज द फॉलोइंग. मतलब क्या एक्सेप्शंस है? वेरियस एक्सेप्शंस है. दैट इफ द मोटर व्हीकल इज कैरिंग पैसेंजर्स, या उसकी कैपेसिटी जो है टू कैरी पैसेंजर्स इज मोर देन 13 सीट्स. अगर अप टू 13 सीट्स है, 13 भी हो गया तो भी डिसअलाउड है. इफ द कार which you're buying are the vehicle, generally car will not have 13 seaters unless it's like a really big car, but generally it will be a vehicle. That's why they have not used the word car, they've used the word motor vehicle. If the motor vehicle has a capacity of carrying people or passengers, how many passengers? More than 13. मतलब 14 भी हो गया तो फिर allowed है. 14 and above. If the vehicle's carrying capacity is 14 and above, विथ द ड्राइवर सीट, आप ड्राइवर सीट को एक्सक्लूड मत कीजिए, विथ ड्राइवर की सीटिंग कैपेसिटी को भी आप कंसिडर कीजिए. 14 और 14 के ऊपर है, ठीक है. अच्छा, तब याद रहेगा हमको कि 14 और 14 के ऊपर है तो क्रेडिट मिलेगा. 14 से नीचे हो गया तो फिर डिसअलाउ. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, कब और कौन से केसेस में अलो हो सकता है? व्हेन इट इज फॉर फर्दर सप्लाई ऑफ सच मोटर व्हीकल्स, वेजल्स और एयरक्राफ्ट. मतलब आपका बिजनेस है ट्रेडिंग इन मोटर व्हीकल्स, trading in vessels, trading in aircrafts, then for you it is allowed because that's your stock in hand. Basically, if it is in your stock in hand, then it will be allowed. Then if you are using it for transport of passengers, if you are using any vehicles for transportation of passengers, then it is allowed. मतलब कार, कैब भी ले लिया आपने, कैपेसिटी सिर्फ 5 लोगों की है, बट आप किसके लिए यूज कर रहे हो? यू आर यूजिंग इट फॉर ट्रांसपोर्टिंग द पैसेंजर्स, देन इट इज अलाउड. नेक्स्ट इज इफ यू आर यूजिंग इट फॉर ट्रेनिंग. ठीक है. फ्लाइट चलाने के पहले पायलट को ट्रेनिंग तो लेना पड़ेगा. वो नई फ्लाइट नहीं लेगा, उसके लिए ट्रेनिंग वाली फ्लाइट लेगा वो, राइट. सो यू कैन नॉट से दैट वो ड्राइविंग ट्रेनिंग की जो क्लासेस है, ट्रेनिंग स्कूल जो है, उसको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है. तो उसको तो क्रेडिट मिलेगा ही. ठीक है. देन transportation of good. If you are using this plane, vehicle, motor vehicle, anything, or ship for transportation of goods, even then you will get the credit. So these are the 5 exceptions. ये इसमें 4 है और ये की है. So total 5 exceptions based on which you can claim the credit. Fine. So what is block? Generally, which you purchase for your business for just leisure. You want to buy a car for the office so that MD can travel it, or employee should travel. Okay. But that is not in the business of transportation of passengers. So you will not be allowed credit of that. So motor vehicles of such category will not be allowed. Then manufacturer of motor vehicle, he can claim it, and supplier of general insurance, he can claim it. But what is block for me? For me, the purchase also is blocked, and all the incidental expenses, that is the general insurance, the repair, leasing and renting or hiring. So if you don't buy, if you say I'll take it on rent, still you will not get the credit. So ITC on vehicles, plant and ships, either direct purchase or the renting or hiring is also not allowed. That is the first block credit. Then food and beverages, outdoor catering, खाने के ऊपर क्रेडिट नहीं है, ब्यूटी ट्रीटमेंट, हेल्थ सर्विसेज पे नहीं है, कॉस्मेटिक एंड प्लास्टिक सर्जरी पे नहीं है, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस एंड हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पे भी नहीं है. Then life and health insurance you will get it if such services are used for making taxable outward supply. Insurance company taking the services of another insurance, he will get it. And statutory obligation, if it is a statutory obligation that they have to provide health insurance, who will have that statutory obligation? A factory who is registered under the Factories Act, they have to compulsorily take health insurance for their employees. क्योंकि वो फैक्ट्री में काम करते हैं, कुछ गिर गया सर के ऊपर, कुछ गिर गया, कुछ हाथ टूट गया, पैर टूट गया, so they have to take the completely they have to take a health insurance, right? ब्लॉक क्रेडिट का हिंदी मीनिंग क्या होता है? ब्लॉक क्रेडिट का हिंदी मीनिंग, मैंने तो जीएसटी हिंदी में नहीं पढ़ा है. जीएसटी को जब हम हिंदी में पढ़ेंगे तब उसका मीनिंग पता चल सकता है. लेट मी जस्ट ट्राई कि एक्चुअल मीनिंग क्या है इसका ब्लॉक क्रेडिट का. क्योंकि सीबीआईसी वेबसाइट में वी गेट द हिंदी वर्जन ऑफ द जीएसटी एक्ट. लेट मी जस्ट ट्राई इफ वहां पे मिलेगी. वहां पे भी इंग्लिश में ही है. even there it is not in Hindi, so I can't give you the replica meaning of block credit. ब्लॉक क्रेडिट मतलब जो क्रेडिट आप नहीं ले सकते हो उसे ब्लॉक क्रेडिट कहेंगे. ठीक है. जो क्रेडिट आप नहीं ले सकते उसे कहते हैं ब्लॉक क्रेडिट. So this is block credit, life insurance and health insurance. Then next is membership of a club or a fitness center or a health center. Okay? Because these are all personal nature. There's nothing directly related to business, right? So even if it is given to employee, given to the customers, still it will not be available because it says membership of a club, health and fitness center to anybody is not allowed. ट्रैवल बेनिफिट्स विच इज एक्सटेंडेड टू एम्प्लॉयज वो भी नहीं मिलेगा. जो भी ट्रैवल बेनिफिट आप एम्प्लॉयज को देते हो उसका बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा अनलेस इट इज ऑब्लिगेटरी. एग्जेम्पशन इज ओनली फॉर लाइफ एंड हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस फॉर एम्प्लॉयज ऑब्लिगेशन. करेक्ट. सो ओनली फॉर व्हेन इट इज स्टैट्यूटरी ऑब्लिगेशन दैट यू हैव टू प्रोवाइड अ life insurance or health insurance, then it is allowed. Otherwise, if it is not obligatory, few companies take health insurance for their employees, but it is not obligatory. Health insurance लेना तो अच्छी बात है ना, but still अगर health insurance आप बिना obligatory reason के लेते हो तो फिर आपको credit नहीं मिलेगा. So you will not get the credit for that. ठीक है. Then works contract services. वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सर्विस के ऊपर भी आपको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलता है. So, but the membership of a club by the club to its employees then allowed. Even then, that's not allowed. So it's a club, and club is giving the membership to its own employees. Now, employees are of which employees of a club, right? Membership of a club by the club to its employees still not allowed because it is still of a personal nature. Even if the employees of the club become the members of the club, okay, still credit will not be available. Still credit will not be available. ये ब्लॉक क्रेडिट, आप ब्लॉक क्रेडिट देखेंगे सेक्शन वाइज जो दिया है नीति वहां पे आपको मिलेगा. आपको चाहिए तो हम स्टडी मटेरियल के थ्रू भी पढ़ सकते हैं ताकि आप क्लैरिटी हो जाए. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. जो भी वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है और आप व्हाट इज वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, फर्स्टली ये जानना होगा. वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हम जान चुके हैं कि जो भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फॉर बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन या तो फिर बिल्डिंग बनाने का काम, कंस्ट्रक्शन का काम, फैब्रिकेशन है, कंप्लीशन है, कुछ इंस्टॉलेशन है, एरेक्शन है, या मॉडिफिकेशन है, रिपेयर है, मतलब कुछ भी हो इन रिलेशन टू एन इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, ऑल ऑफ दीज 12 टर्म्स व्हिच हैव बीन यूज्ड, building, construction, fabrication, completion, erection, installation, fitting out, improvement, modification, or alteration or commissioning of any immovable property. So any work you are undertaking for doing any activity in relation to an immovable property, starting from construction and ending with repair. Okay, then such kind of activity is a, if it is in relation to an immovable property. Immovable property का मतलब हमें पता है जो फिक्स्ड होता है, जो बिल्डिंग बनता है, जो फैक्ट्री प्रीमाइसेस बनती है, उसके रिलेशन में कुछ है, तो फिर आपको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा। आप एक फैक्ट्री सेटअप कर रहे हो, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करने के लिए मशीनरी डाल रहे हो, लेकिन एक स्ट्रक्चर चाहिए, आप एक बिल्डिंग बना रहे हो, ठीक है, या एक वेयर हाउस बना रहे हो, या एक शेड बना रहे हो जहाँ पे आपके एम्प्लॉयज काम करेंगे, ठीक है, दैट रेंटल प्रेमाइस, दैट प्रेमाइसेस विच यू आर बिल्डिंग, उसके ऊपर जो भी आप कंस्ट्रक्शन कॉस्ट बनाओगे उसके ऊपर आपको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा। Exception is if it is an input service for further supply, if it is immovable properties, plant and machinery, and if it is a expense which is not capitalized. क्योंकि आप capitalize करते हो तब ही वो works contract रहेगा. If it is not capitalized, इसका मतलब you are writing it off in your books of accounts as an expense, right? If it is for repairs and maintenance, annual upkeep, any works contract which you are doing, say like painting कर रहे हो building का, उसके ऊपर आपको blockage नहीं होगा, you can claim the credit. Okay. Next is plant and machinery. What is the definition of plant and machinery? Construction of either works contract, you give it to outsider, or you construct it on your own. Both is not allowed. Then any input supplies which is charged to tax and under composition levy. Then any inward supply received by a non-resident taxable person. And then goods or services are both, which is used for personal consumption. Any goods which are lost, stolen, destroyed, or goods that are written off, or goods disposed of by way of gift or free sample. On that, you will not get the credit because these are all kind of supplies which is without consideration, so you will not get the credit. And then any taxes which is paid in fraud cases, detention and confiscation, in such cases also will not get the credit. Okay. So in these situations, you do not get a credit at all. That is all what is there at 17. Next question was on 8.40 and 8.48. Clarification on availability of input tax on demo car. Are you asking that? Yeah, 8.40. I'm sharing it here. 8.40 gives a clarification on whether ITC is available in respect of demo vehicles. Right? What is demo vehicles? Are you clear on what is demo vehicle first of all? Yeah. What is the meaning of demo vehicle? Do you know or don't know? Come on. Now we have to make this class a little interactive. Otherwise, this will not work the same. We have to tell what is a demo vehicle. You can be wrong also, but you'll have to guess, no? Yeah, any more? This is just only one answer. Yep. Vehicles that are used to give a demo ride before buying. Okay. Before the purchase of actual car, we are provided with a test drive provided by the company to assess its features. Correct. Vehicle for demonstration. It is not for sale, but used only for trials of the customers. Very good. We give customers to drive once. Correct. Trial piece before buying vehicle, which we check, not aware about exact vehicle. Now we have got it, Tej, what your other friends have said exactly correctly, that आप जब एक showroom पे जाते हो and you try out a vehicle, how it is, right? That is called as a demo vehicle. So that demo vehicle, when it is purchased by the showroom, will they get credit on that is or no, is what is the circular being clarified. Circular number 231. Circular number 231 says that whether there was a clarification which is required on availability of input tax credit in respect of demo vehicles, which are motor vehicles for transportation of passengers having the approved seating capacity of not more than 13% in terms of 17.58. Why 13%? Because vehicles which is up to 13 vehicles is blocked. Now, but when they say that the exception is if it is used for transportation of passengers or it is used for transportation of goods, then it is allowed. This is not specifically transportation of passengers, right? Because it's just a demo vehicle. So क्या इसके ऊपर credit मिलेगा? That was the question. The answer from the department came that as demo vehicles are used by authorized dealers to provide the trial run and to demonstrate the features of the vehicle to the potential buyers, it helps the potential buyers to make a decision to purchase a particular kind of motor vehicles. So if that is not there, they cannot decide. So it helps them to make a decision. So in that case, as demo vehicles promote sale of similar type of vehicles, as it helps to promote sale of similar type of motor vehicles, they can be considered to be used by the dealer for making further supply of such vehicles. One exception under motor vehicles, we saw that anything which is purchased, which is a stock in trade or which helps, by a person who is buying and selling such motor vehicle, then he can get the credit. Now, this demo vehicles also is for such purpose, that is for making further supply of such motor vehicles. Not the motor vehicle, but such motor vehicles. मतलब एक डेमो कार है Hyundai i10, उसी की तरह दूसरी कार बेचने के लिए आपको डेमो रखनी पड़ेगी. So such similar car are being sold because there is a demo car, right? इसीलिए the government is saying since the exception under 17.5 said that if it is for further supply of such models, then you can get the credit. तो इसीलिए इस केस में भी आपको credit मिलेगा. Accordingly, input tax credit in respect of demo vehicles is not blocked under 17.5A and it is excluded from such blockage. तो इसका मतलब demo vehicle के ऊपर आपको credit मिलेगा. Yeah. Such means of similar type. Okay. Of similar type, you will get the credit. So if you are having a demo car, now you are not selling that car, but you are selling similar models of the car. So you will get the credit of such motor vehicle also. Please clarify such motor vehicle. Okay, now it is clear. Similar means not that such vehicles. Matlab, yeah, one model is there. Other models or similar models also you can sell by showing a display of such motor vehicle. Easily you will get the credit of such motor vehicle also. It is the only reason to have demo calls so that we can sell similar car. Correct. But there was confusion, Priyanshi, whether आपको credit मिलेगा या नहीं. Because some GST authorities are saying, no, you are not selling this car, so I will not give you the credit. Right? If you buy and sell it, their intention was that you should buy it and sell that car only. But in case of demo car, you're not selling that car, but you're selling such car. The exception says that if you're buying something for sale of such motor vehicles, then you'll get it. So you should get it there. Yeah, we start brand to be same, but models can be different. Yes, still you will get it because they just want to show the make of the car, right? So any demo vehicles, you will get the credit benefit. Next is 8.48. Clarification of ITC on ducts and manholes. Now, whether ITC will be available for the ducts and manholes which is used in the network of a optical fiber. That was the next query. The query was whether ITC on the ducts and manholes will be available, which is used in the network of optical fiber cables for providing telecommunication services. Whether ITC on ducts and manholes, which is used in the network of optical fiber cables for providing telecommunication services, is it barred, is it blocked under 785C and D, or no? The clarification here came that ducts and manholes are basic components. Ducts and manholes are basic components for the optical fiber cable, which is used in providing telecommunication services. This OFC network is generally laid with the use of PVC ducts or sheets in which OFCs are housed. Matlab, you have this plastic PVC, big wires. The PVC is like a plastic outer pipings. Okay. The OFC network is generally laid with the use of PVC ducts or sheets in which OFCs are housed and service or connectivity manuals which serve as the nodes of the network and are necessary for not only laying the optical fiber cable, but also their upkeep and maintenance. So in view of the explanation of 17, it appears that plants, ducts and manholes are covered under the definition of plant and machinery because who lays down this OFCs, optical fiber cables? Which companies? The telecommunication companies or the internet companies lay off this so that who are not using direct satellite, or even if they're doing it satellite, they have to use some pointers so that the network can be distributed. So this laying down of this wire is very important. So in terms of section 17, such ducts and manholes are basically plant and machinery as they are used as a part of the OFC network for making the outward supply of transmission of telecommunication signals from one point to another. So not everything what we see that directly DTH is where it comes from the satellite, right? But for internet and telecommunications, it doesn't come from satellite. It has to be laid down through wires, and from the wire, we'll see that our Wi-Fi connectivities are coming from a wire, right? So the wire has to get laid down from the towers till our place where we want the network. So that's why these wires are part of the service which the telecommunication company does. Right? That's why this is very important. Moreover, ducts and manholes used in the network of optical fiber cables have not been specifically excluded from the definition of plant and machinery. So you will get the credit of these OFCs, all the manholes and the OFC cables. Then 16.6 and 18.8.50. Yeah, 16.6 we had discussed last class, but we had discussed over 8. And what is the query on 18.8.50? Any inward supplies? So one of the block credit was, which we had seen in our PPT also, that any ITC which is used for the purpose of CSR or corporate social responsibility. Any ITC which we use for the purpose of CSR. What is CSR? CSR means corporate social responsibility. Ducts and manholes in Hindi, Tej Chauhan. डक्स एंड मैनुअल्स को हिंदी में मैं बताता हूँ, आपको पिक्चर्स दिखा देता हूँ ताकि आपको समझ में आ सके. आपके यहाँ पे घर पे जो वायर्स आते हैं इंटरनेट के लिए या टेलीफोन लाइंस के लिए, ये इस तरह के वायर्स रहते हैं जो कहाँ से पुल होते हैं. डायरेक्ट ये देख लीजिए, जो मैन होल्स रहते हैं, इसे कहते हैं मैन होल्स, जो खड्डा रहता है. लेट मी एक्सप्लेन दिस टू यू. जो इंटरनेट कंपनीज है वायरिंग करती हैं उसे कहते हैं मैन होल. और जो वायर को प्रोटेक्ट करती है, ये ब्लैक वाले कवर्स या फिर ये जो कवर्स है जो ब्लैक को कवर करती हैं, इसे कहते हैं ऑप्टिकल फाइबर केबल. तो ये डक्ट्स बनाती है. ठीक है. सो ये सब डक्ट्स बनाते हैं और डक्ट्स के थ्रू क्या है, वायरिंग निकलता है, जिसे कहते हैं डक्ट्स एंड मैनहोल्स. ठीक है. What do you mean by movable plant and machinery? Miss P, what could be an example of movable plant and machinery? Definitely, it will be allowed, but like any kind of machinery which we are installing, which can be moved, that is not a works contract. Yes, on that we will get the credit. तेज चौहान, आपको डक्ट्स और मैनुअल समझ में आ गए? Awesome. So we'll discuss one CSR, corporate social responsibility. What is a corporate social responsibility? This is very important. जो business करते हैं, right? After they do the business, they have to give back to the society. How can they give back? Unless there is an obligation, companies will terminate what's a profit for which will not give back anything to the society. So in that case, what happens? There is an obligation that every company who is having a certain threshold limit, they have to make compulsory contribution, which is called as corporate social responsibility. Now, when they spend anything on such corporate social responsibility, will the credit be allowed or no was the question. So that is answered that ITC shall not be available in respect of goods and services of both which is received by a taxable person, which are used or intended to be used for activities relating to the obligations under CSR. Why? Because CSR is a strategy undertaken by companies to not just grow the profits, but to take an active and positive social role in the world around them. So the corporate social responsibility programs aim to give structure to a company's efforts to give back to the community and participate in philanthropic causes and provide positive social value. And businesses, what are they doing? Businesses are increasingly turn to CSR to make a difference and build a positive brand around their company. So what is the reason of CSR is there? But the GST law says that by doing CSR, there is no ITC chain. The ITC chain is not getting contained. So in case of a CSR, in case of a CSR, there will not be any credit which will be available. You cannot claim the credit for the CSR expenditure. It is also one of the locked credits. क्लॉज और सेक्शन में क्या डिफरेंस होता है? सेक्शन को हम क्लॉज भी कहते हैं या सब सेक्शन को भी क्लॉज कहते हैं. क्लॉज फर्स्ट सेक्शन होता है, फिर सब सेक्शन होता है. अभी 17 सेक्शन हो गया, फिर सब सेक्शन 5 हो गया, फिर थर्ड कैटेगरी को क्या कहेंगे, इसीलिए उसे कहते हैं क्लॉज. फर्स्ट सेक्शन, फिर सब सेक्शन और फिर क्लॉज. फर्स्ट सेक्शन आता है, फिर सब सेक्शन आता है, और उसके बाद क्लॉज आता है. CSR, whether it is for philanthropic or no, that is not the objective. They just said what is CSR. CSR is generally for philanthropic purpose, but uske upar we will not get the credit. Clauses are related to each other, but subsection are independent. No, clauses also can be independent, right? Because each clause is independent of the other clause. They are not dependent on each other. It's just that category. So if you read the section, see, I show you the section, then you'll understand this in much better manner. How the law or the sections are arranged is that, see, you have section 17. Okay, can you see the screen? This is the main section. Okay, after section, you have subsection. So it is easy to call like that. And if after this subsection, you want to break it down further, say 17.5, now you want to break it down further. What will you call subsection? Subsection? There has to be a proper name. So that's why it is called a section. 17 is a section, 5 is a subsection, and A is the clause. Okay. Next was on section 16.6. Okay, we'll see what is 16.6 because we have read till 16.5, but 16.6 is also amended and again, which is relevant for your exam. So whatever amendments have happened, it is very important that we read through them. Section 16.6 says that what is the time limit for taking ITC in the case of revoked registration cancellation. So for this, you need to have a basic understanding. Yeah, I will give an example for 16.6 of it. And you should understand how does the cancellation happens in GST. So if the officer wants to cancel your GST registration, you cannot cancel it just again, right? And if you want to apply for cancellation, you can apply. But if generally what happens when we apply for cancellation, we are voluntarily applying, so there is no problem with that. But when the GST officer sees that you are not doing the business correctly, you're not filing the returns on time, you're getting involved with some fraudulent purchases, or you're taking credits fraudulently. A lot of things that happening in business that way. Might not be everybody's doing it, but that is what is happening in terms of cancellation. Anybody who is making fake invoices are taking the input tax credit from a supplier who is not existing, right? Therefore, they will take the registry, take the invoices and claim the credit. So in that case, what should happen is they will have to cancel their registration because they are not following the input tax credit. All the business people are getting affected. So what they will do is the officer will go and cancel their registration, right? But that cancellation will not happen immediately because he has to justify why he's canceling the registration. He will have to provide the reason saying this is the reason I'm canceling your registration. Okay, so he will have to apply for cancellation before cancellation. Okay, 16.5 is in our module तेज चौहान 16.6 है तो 16.5 ही रहेगा ना आपकी मॉड्यूल में है 16.5 और 16.6 दोनों ऐड किए गए हैं 16.4 है 16.4 में आईटीसी का टाइम आरसीएम का है 16.5 नहीं है लेकिन 16.6 तो इंक्लूडेड है मॉड्यूल से ही पढ़ रहा हूँ तो 16.6 आपके लिए इंक्लूडेड 5 नहीं है करेक्ट है लेकिन 16.6 इंक्लूडेड ठीक है So we're talking about cancellation. So if the officer has to go for cancellation, तो फिर जो registered person है उसका business ठप हो जाएगा. He cannot carry on the business. Correct? Without GST registration उससे कोई खरीदेगा नहीं because he'll not be able to file the return and things like that. तो इसीलिए registration के पहले क्या किया गवर्नमेंट ने कहा कि उसके पहले एक सस्पेंड कर देंगे. So immediately will not go for cancellation, will go for suspension. तो आपका registration suspend हो जाएगा. Okay? Suspend होने के बाद क्या है फिर थोड़े दिन बाद इंक्वायरी चलेगी कि वो क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगी कि आप क्या बिजनेस कर रहे हो आपने सही बिजनेस किया नहीं आप प्रूव करो वो सब अगर प्रूव हो जाती है कि वो फ्रॉडलेंट है तब रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल किया जाएगा लेकिन उसके पहले तक उसका स्टेटस क्या होगा सस्पेंड मोड में रहेगा ठीक है सो बिफोर कैंसिलेशन इट इज सस्पेंडेड एंड आफ्टर सस्पेंशन इज कंफर्म देन इट इज कैंसिलेशन मतलब सस्पेंड जब तक है तब भी आप क्वेश्चन रेज करके आपका कैंसिलेशन को रोक सकते हैं okay that is part 1 second part is after cancellation also you can make a request कि मेरा cancellation हटा दो that is called as revocation so once your registration is cancelled you can still go to the office and saying that what cancellation you have done is not correct remove of the cancellation or revoke my cancellation आपका जो एक्शन है उसको बैक एंड कर दीजिए आप रीवर्क कर दीजिए रिवाइंड कर दीजिए आपने कैंसिलेशन नहीं करना था लेकिन आपने किया ठीक है सो you should not go for cancellation is what you are trying to say cancellation कर रहे थे तब तक आप सो रहे होते और कैंसिलेशन के बाद आप रिक्वेस्ट करते हो कि भैया कैंसिलेशन मत करो इसको रिवोक कर दो ठीक है In case when the registration of a taxpayer is cancelled and subsequently it is revoked, right? Abhi, you understood registration, you understood cancellation, and you understood revocation of cancellation. So, जब cancellation किया था, तब you couldn't do anything. But you are now applying for revocation. You are applying for revocation. So, अब क्या होगा? So, in case where the registration of a taxpayer is cancelled, आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल आ गया एंड सब्सिक्वेंटली इट इज रिवोक्ड आपने कैंसिल किया है राइट एंड थोड़े दिन बाद आपने रिक्वेस्ट किया कि कैंसिलेशन मत करो फिर ऑफिसर मान गया और उसको रिवोक कर दिया सो इन केस वेयर द रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑफ अ टैक्स पेयर इज कैंसिल्ड एंड सब्सिक्वेंटली इट इज रिवोक्ड द रिटर्न फॉर द पीरियड फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ कैंसिलेशन till the effective date or the effective date of cancellation till the date of revocation cannot be filed on the portal by the taxpayer till their cancellation of registration is revoked. तो एक होता है कैंसिलेशन एक होता है रिवोकेशन तो जब तक आपका कैंसिलेशन स्टेटस है तब से रिवोकेशन पीरियड तक आप जीएसटी रिटर्न फाइल नहीं कर सकते. फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ कैंसिलेशन टिल द डेट ऑफ रिवोकेशन यू कैन नॉट फाइल एनी रिटर्न्स, क्योंकि आपका स्टेटस कैंसिल हो गया, तो आप रिटर्न कैसे फाइल करते हैं. लेकिन जब रिवोक करते हैं तब आप फाइल कर सकते हो. सो till the date of from the date of the cancellation you cannot revoke till the date of revocation. So in such cases where the recipient who has not claimed the ITC in respect of any invoice or debit note pertaining to that financial year, and in the meantime time limit stipulated in 16(4) lapses, he will not be able to claim the credit. मैंने किसी को सेल किया था भैया, because I am a genuine taxpayer. I have been supplying the goods and I have been passing on the credit. Right? Now I have sold something and I have to give credit to my buyer. Okay? Now, during while I'm doing this, the office has cancelled my registration. Oh God. Say on the 1st of April 2025, he has cancelled my registration. Right? And मैं रिवोक करूंगा 3 महीने के बाद, 6 महीने का, बिकॉज आई हैव टाइम, 3 मंथ्स, लेकिन मैक्सिमम 9 मंथ्स तक मैं रिवोकेशन के लिए अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ. सपोज मैंने लेट करके 9 मंथ्स बाद दिसंबर में रिवोकेशन अप्लाई किया, उसने जनवरी मार्च में रिवोकेशन को ओपन किया, तो मैंने जो इनवॉइसेस लास्ट ईयर के देने थे फॉर द ईयर 2024-25 आई हैव गिवन इट, बट द I couldn't file the returns because by the time I could file the March returns, my registration was cancelled. What I told my date of cancellation was 1st April. तो 1 अप्रैल को कैंसिल हुआ, वो रिवोकेशन हुआ 1 साल बाद. लेकिन मार्च के जो भी बायर्स है उनको क्रेडिट कब तक मिलना चाहिए? बाई व्हाट टाइम कैन दे क्लेम द क्रेडिट? कम ऑन, यू नो द टाइम लिमिट टू क्लेम द क्रेडिट, राइट? Right. By 30th November or the due date of our filing annual return, whichever is earlier. Perfect. You guys are remembering it. So till 30th November, he has to claim it. Now 24-25 का क्रेडिट जो देना था, वो नवंबर तक मेरा रजिस्ट्रेशन खुला ही नहीं है, तो मैं नहीं दे सकता हूँ. तो फिर क्या होगा? उसका बायर बोलेगा, बॉस मैंने तो तुमको पेमेंट किया है, तुम्हारे कैंसिलेशन की वजह से मुझे क्रेडिट नहीं मिल रहा है और मेरा टाइम लिमिट भी चला गया है, तो विजय कुछ करो अभी. तो अभी हम क्या कर सकते हैं? So we will tell that 16(6) provision here, which says that by the time pertaining to that financial year, and in the meantime, time limit which is stipulated in 16(4) has lapsed, and he will not be able to claim the credit. So consequently, relaxation has been given, and the time limit to avail ITC under 16(4) in respect of any invoice or debit note is extended till the date of filing the return in cases where the returns for the period from the date of cancellation of registration till the date of revocation of cancellation of registration are filed within 30 days. So if the supplier का registration revoke हो गया है और वो within 30 days उसका revocation होने तक वो returns फाइल कर देता है, तो फिर आपको क्रेडिट मिलेगा. ओके. सो वंस उसका रजिस्ट्रेशन खुल गया एंड विद इन 30 days इज फाइल्ड, देन यू कैन क्लेम द क्रेडिट. क्लियर है यहाँ तक? That is the provision of 16(6). So these are all the queries. We'll get into our hardcore topic. Just give it a few more minutes to let me know if you have any more doubts. मैंने नंबर्स दिए था ना कि विथ नंबर्स ही हम बात कर रहे हैं. सो एक्सटेंडेड टाइम इज 30 days ऑफ रिवोकेशन. करेक्ट. 16 for what clarification, Soumya? No doubts. Can we take a break for 5 minutes then? Just 5 to 10 minutes maximum. Time limit for RCM. How many years we can revoke registration? Within only 6 to 9 months. Yeah, after that you cannot revoke. हम registration में देखेंगे कि time limit है 6 months and that can get extended to 9 months. Sir, so why they added the condition that time limit on 16 months will not lapse? Yeah. So whatever revocation is done, revocation ke within 1 month you can claim it. But original subject to the condition, the time limit to avail ITC in respect of the said invoice under 16 has already not expired. So you have to claim it within the 16 time limit. ठीक है. I think few doubts are still there. Let's take a break of 5 minutes or maximum 10 minutes and we'll come back. So we'll take a break, sir.
press again. So now we are able to click on ready to deliver the stop to solve. And so what is that? Is can go ready to our
Yeah, so we have discussed till now on section 16 and section 17. And we had also started on the special circumstances.
25.
So we'll continue with the special circumstances, which will help us to decide what happens in case the credit gets changed or the business scenario gets changed. What happens to the credit in that case?
अगर आपने देखा होगा
We have discussed these things. Also, we'll discuss what happens in case of a credit in special instances. There is one trying to change the Yeah, now this should be better. Let's make it. So what happens in the case of a change of credit position? So we are registered, say, under a category of composition, and now we want to move to regular registrations. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible because when you are there under the, is the PPT visible? Now it's visible. Credit in special circumstances. That's the slide. Right? Yeah. So what happens 16, 17, 18, right? These are the only three important sections which we have worked with. Correct? So 16 and 17 we know. 16 का पूरा detail हमको पता है and 17, 5 is the major one, which is the block credit which we have understood. And whenever there is a common credit which is used for business and non-business, so only such credit which is used for business will be taken and which is used for personal and non-personal business. Only what is used for personal will be discerned. Correct? So now we come to a situation where in 16 and 17, now we'll go to a situation where आपका क्रेडिट नहीं था लेकिन अभी अवेलेबल कब नहीं था when you are under composition scheme, right? And composition scheme you cannot claim the credit. We all know that, correct? Under composition scheme we cannot claim the credit. लेकिन मुझे अभी रेगुलर स्कीम में आ गया हूं मैं मुझे क्रेडिट चाहिए. That is aspect number one. Or when I was dealing in goods which were exempted, the goods were exempted. Now it becomes taxable. Correct? Then also you can claim the credit. So in these situations, how can we claim the credit? That is what this section 18 is going to guide us with. Section 18 will tell ITC on first is 18.1A, 18.1B, 18.1C, 18.1D, 4 sections. Whenever you move through the screen, your voice gets okay. Let me not move then. Hopefully, then it will be clear because I thought this was just a earphone, so it will not matter. But still, thanks, Omkar, for highlighting that. So 18.1A first is the scenario is ITC on opening stock of inputs at the time of new registration. Okay. So what happens when you are taking new registration? You had some stock in your hands and you had not registered, but at the time of registration, you still have the stock in hand with you. So will you get the credit of this or no is the question. So we'll focus on this aspect, this first block of 81K. So it says that ITC on opening stock on the inputs at the time of new registration. So a person who has applied for registration within 30 days from the date on which he becomes liable to registration. When does he apply for registration? He can apply anytime, right? When is a person liable for registration? First of all, who has applied for registration within 30 days from the date of which he becomes liable to registration. So this is the critical from the date when he becomes liable to registration. So when is he liable to registration? Which date is he liable to registration? Come on, you know the answer for this. It's not interlinked. That's why I'm asking questions. When he's crossing the threshold limit. Perfect. So what's the threshold limit? When deal in registration, generally it is 20 lakhs. And for goods, it is 40 lakhs. And for in certain circumstances, it is 10 lakhs. So there are three levels, either 10, 20 or 40. Correct, 40 lakhs for goods, we know that. So once he touches that limit, he has to take the registration. Correct? He has to take compulsory registration. So a person who has applied for registration within 30 days from that date when he becomes liable for registration. जैसे मेरा एक, I'm a service provider. The limit for me is 20 lakhs. I've crossed my 20 lakhs in this financial year because you have to see the financial year. From April, I started providing my services. In the month of May, I've crossed the 20 lakhs limit. So I have to apply for registration as soon as I cross. तो आज मेरा क्रॉस हुआ तो आज ही मैं भाग नहीं सकता हूँ डिपार्टमेंट के लिए registration के लिए. So they're giving me time of 30 days. So today is what? Today is 13th May. So within 12th of June, that is 30 days. Within 30 days, if I apply for registration and has been granted such registration, सिर्फ apply करने से नहीं होगा, apply करके granting. Lekin this 30 days is not for grant. 30 days is for applying. You apply within 30 days. Registration department kabhi bhi de. But if you have applied for registration within 30 days from the date when you became liable for registration and your registration is granted, then you will be entitled to take credit of input tax in respect of what? In respect of inputs held in stock. In respect of inputs contained in semi-finished goods which is held in stock and finished goods which is held in stock. So if he is a trader, for him it will be beneficial because this is critically designed for a trader. Because a person who's a trader, he's trading in goods and he has some stocks and he has applied for registration when he's crossed this threshold limit. And he's applied within 30 days. Then he will get the credit of the following things. Whatever he will get, he will get credit of the inputs, which is what is inputs? We have discussed in the definition part. That is two types of credit. One is input, one is input services. Here we are talking not about input services, we are talking about inputs, which is the stock aspect. So whatever inputs he has, directly raw materials, or if those raw materials are there in semi-finished goods, or they are held in stock. All these three, he will get the credit when of what? Of all these stocks which is held on the day immediately preceding the day from which he became liable to pay tax under the provisions of this act. Not from the date of registration. Which means what? अपने केस में I take some numbers. Date of crossing threshold. So टुडे इज 13th मई, 1 अप्रैल को स्टार्ट किया बंदे ने और 13th मई 2025 को इसका लिमिट क्रॉस हो गया। He is applied for registration on the 30th of May 2025. He has received the registration within, अगर आधार ऑथेंटिकेशन है तो 15 दिन, वरना फिर 30 दिन भी लग जाते हैं। से ऑन द 25th of June 2025 he's got the registration. तो 18(1)(a) के हिसाब से आपको क्रेडिट मिलेगा ऑफ द स्टॉक विच इज हेल्ड ऑफ इनपुट्स, रॉ मटेरियल्स, इनपुट्स, सेमीफिनिश्ड गुड्स एंड फिनिश्ड गुड्स। बट एज ऑन विच डेट? क्योंकि यहां पर भी कुछ स्टॉक हो सकता है। दिस इज 1, दिस इज 2 and this is 3. So according to 18(1)(a), what I've explained, as on which date we will get the credit of the stock. Miss P is given the correct answer. Mr. Chauhan Tej Prakash also right. Astha also partly right. Somesh is right. What about capital goods, sir? For new registration, he will not get credit of capital goods. He will not get credit. यहाँ पे सिर्फ लिखा है कि input, semi-finished goods and finished goods, so you'll get only credit of that. You will not get credit of capital goods. Soumya is also right and Shalini is also right. So you will get the credit of stock which is held on the day immediately preceding the date when he became liable for registration. So he became liable for registration, he is applied within 30 days. So he will get the credit of the stock which is held on 12th of May. 12th of May. Fine. क्रेडिट मिलेगा मैडम, क्रेडिट मिलेगा क्योंकि उसने सही टाइम पे अप्लाई किया तो उसको क्रेडिट मिलेगा। नाउ वी अंडरस्टूड दिस फर्स्ट सिनेरियो। केस 1, केस 2 चलती। 13 मई को बंदे का लिमिट क्रॉस हो गया, उसको अप्लाई करना था विद इन टाइम लिमिट, लेकिन उसने अप्लाई कर दिया 13 जून को, तो क्या उसको क्रेडिट मिलेगा? एंड ही रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑल्सो 25 जून। सो फर्स्ट केस में निधि जी मिलेगा, अब इससे केस में आप बताइए कि मिलेगा या नहीं। सेकेंड केस में भी क्रेडिट मिलेगा। चौहान तेज प्रकाश बोल रहे नो, आस्था इज सेइंग नो, निधि इज सेइंग मिलेगा, रणवीर इज नो, वाओ, यस नो, गुड, गाइस आर प्लेइंग वाओ। No, sir, 30-day limit frost, so no credit. Okay. Sabash Shakil is saying no. Correct. So the correct answer is credit nahi milega because he has to apply for the registration within 30 days. Has he applied for registration within 30 days? 13th May से 30 days कौन सा क्या कंसेप्ट होता है? You leave off 13. तो फिर 14 से लेके 13 से लेके 30 days ends on the 12th of May. Since it ends on 12th of June, when he's applied on the 13th of June, एक दिन लेट हो गया, सिर्फ एक दिन, ग्रेस मार्क्स नहीं. So no grace marks, no grace days. If he's applied after 30 days, उसे credit नहीं मिलेगा. So he's applied on the 13th June, so he will not get the credit of the stock. So 18(1)(a) clearly समझ गए हम, 30 days from the date from which he has granted and from the date of when he was liable for registration and he is granted registration. बट ही हैज टू अप्लाई विद इन 30 days, तो फिर इतना क्रेडिट मिलेगा. लेट हो गया तो फिर क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा. क्लियर? परफेक्ट. नेक्स्ट चलते हैं हम 18(1)(b). 18(1)(a) इज फॉर न्यू रजिस्ट्रेशन. 18(1)(b) देखते हैं क्या बोलता है. 18(1)(b) टॉक्स अबाउट ITC ऑफ अगेन ओपनिंग स्टॉक. वहां पर भी ओपनिंग स्टॉक है, यहाँ पर भी ओपनिंग स्टॉक का है. यहाँ पे इट इज इन केस ऑफ वॉलेंट्री रजिस्ट्रेशन. वहां पे क्या था, वॉलेंट्री रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं था. 18(1)(a). 18(1)(a) वाज अ केस ऑफ कंपल्सरी रजिस्ट्रेशन. 18(1)(b) is a case of voluntary registration. 18(1)(b) says a person who obtains voluntary registration uh, a person who obtains voluntary registration is entitled to take credit of input tax in respect of, again, inputs in stock, inputs containing semi-finished goods, then finished goods, held on the day immediately preceding the date of registration. Immediately preceding the date of registration. Okay. So immediately preceding the date of registration, वहाँ पे compulsory registration हो गया. From the day when he became liable for registration, 18(1)(b) is seized from the day immediately preceding the date of registration. Yes, here exactly they John, यहाँ पे कुछ टाइम लिमिट नहीं है अप्लाई करने का. वहां पे वंस क्रॉस द थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट, आपको थ्रेशोल्ड देखना था एंड यू हैव टू अप्लाई विद इन 30 days, दोनों देखना था. यहाँ पे ना तो आपको लिमिट देखना है ना तो 30 days की लिमिट देखना है. आस्था सेठी 30 days will end on 30. इट विल एंड ऑन 12th मैडम, क्योंकि मई में कितने डेज है? 31 days. 31 में से 30 निकाल देंगे तो कितना होगा? 18. 18 plus 12 makes it 30. So it ends on the 12th. Got it? Yeah. So it is on the 12th. Now इस केस में बताइए, I will tell you, यहाँ पे थोड़ा ट्विस्ट है. So within how many days he can avail the ITC in 18(1)(a), madam? If he's applied for registration, then on his stock, whatever it is there, on that he can avail the credit. When he has to avail, when he files his first return, that time he has to avail. That is simple. Is there any other question which you have? Can you please unmute yourself? Clear, huh? So here there is no question of crossing of threshold. Date of registration, applied for registration, correct? He is applied for registration on the 13th of June. He has received the registration on the 25th of June. So this will become 1, this will become 2. So in this case, as on what date can he claim the ITC of the stocks credit? 12th June. Okay. Ishan Chauhan. सबा शकील, दैट 1 ईयर कंडीशन में बाद में बोलेगी, क्योंकि पहले ये जान लेते हैं, फिर वो 1 ईयर, वरना फिर यहाँ पे कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे. व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज राइट. वो दोनों के लिए अप्लाई. वो इनवॉइस कितना पुराना हो सकता है वो बोल रहे हैं 1 ईयर का. हम आएंगे उसके लिए. People are saying 12 June, you are saying 24, but full house participation is not. I need full house participation. Twenty-fourth June. Now people are saying, oh, somebody saying 26th June. Amazing. 26th June कैसे होगा भाई? It is on the held on the day immediately preceding the date of registration. It can be a date preceding the date of registration, can't be succeeding. Succeeding is a day after, preceding is a day before. So we are talking about the day before the date of registration. So in this case, he has applied for registration on 30th, but is received on 25th. So he will be availing the credit of the inputs and inputs held in stock, inputs held in semi-finished goods, and inputs held in finished goods, which are held on the day immediately preceding the date of registration. So date of registration is 25th June. So immediately preceding the date of registration, that is 24th June, he will get the credit as on 24th June only. ठीक है. So sir, your registration received is important. Correct. 81 registration received is important. Awesome. 25 जुलाई होगा क्या सर उनका आंसर थ्रेशोल्ड? नहीं, 25 जुलाई नहीं होगा था. अपने क्वेश्चन में 25 जुलाई तो नहीं आया. 25 जुलाई नहीं होगा. ठीक है. थर्ड केस, यहाँ तक 18(1)A 18(1)B स्मूथली समझ गए. अभी 18(1)C में जाते हैं. 18(1)C is a case where what happens in case of ITC on the opening stock of inputs and capital goods which is held by a taxable person. निधि, योर क्वेश्चन आई एम नॉट क्लियर. आपका क्या क्वेश्चन है यहाँ पे? Received the registration on 25th June, the preceding will be 24th June ना. तो हमें 24th June में आपका क्या डाउट है वहां पे? 18(1)B करेक्ट. 18(1)B बोलता है कि फ्रॉम द डेट, यहाँ पे थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट का पॉइंट ही नहीं आएगा. करेक्ट. इज अप्लाइड फॉर रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑन 30th टू रिसीव द रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑन 25th. तो फिर कौन से स्टॉक का क्रेडिट उसको मिल सकता है वो हम बता पूछ रहे हैं. 24 जून का जो भी स्टॉक है उसका क्रेडिट मिलेगा, करेक्ट है ना? ठीक है। Now, third scenario, 81C, what happens to ITC on opening stock of inputs and capital goods if the taxable person switching from composition scheme? So 181A and 1B में नए रजिस्ट्रेशन थे, तो नए रजिस्ट्रेशन बंदे को सिर्फ इनपुट्स, सेमी फिनिश गुड्स और फिनिश गुड्स में मिलता था, कैपिटल गुड्स पे नहीं मिल रहा था। 181C और 181D में कैपिटल गुड्स भी मिलेगा, ये कैपिटल गुड्स का भी क्रेडिट उसको मिलेगा। क्या यहाँ पे सिर्फ इनपुट्स नहीं है, स्पेशल है इनपुट्स और यहाँ पे आपको कैपिटल गुड्स का भी क्रेडिट मिलेगा। सो रजिस्टर्ड टैक्सेबल पर्सन हु सीजेस टू पे टैक्स अंडर सेक्शन 10, सेक्शन 10 क्या है? कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम। सो पर्सन बंदा जो है कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम पे कर रहा था, राइट? अभी वो कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम से हटके सीज का मतलब क्या हुआ? बंद कर रहा है। कौन सा बंद कर रहा है? जीएसटी बिजनेस बंद कर रहा है? नहीं। क्या बंद कर रहा है? सेक्शन 10 को जो पे करता वो ऑप्शन बंद कर रहा है। A registered person who ceases to pay tax under Section 10, that is composition scheme, shall be entitled to take credit. तो जो बंदा कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम में था वो तो कॉम्पोजिशन से नॉर्मल स्कीम में क्यों जाएगा? जब उसका थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट क्रॉस हो रहा है, तब उसका कॉम्पोजिशन बेनिफिशियल नहीं हो रहा है, तब वो कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम से रेगुलर स्कीम जंप कर सकता है, करेक्ट? So when he moves from composition scheme to regular scheme, so what can he get the benefit of? क्योंकि composition scheme में बिजनेस कर रहा था, स्टॉक तो उसके पास थे, कैपिटल गुड्स भी थे, लेकिन वो उसका क्रेडिट नहीं ले पाता था। लेकिन अभी नॉर्मल स्कीम में वो हो रहा है तो उसका क्रेडिट ले सकता है, करेक्ट? सो ही शैल बी एंटाइटल्ड टू टेक क्रेडिट ऑफ इनपुट टैक्स इन रेस्पेक्ट ऑफ इनपुट्स हेल्ड इन स्टॉक, इनपुट्स कंटेन सेमी फिनिश्ड गुड्स, अगेन फिनिश्ड गुड्स एंड कैपिटल गुड्स। इतने ही का क्रेडिट ले सकता है वो। Okay, when you can take the credit on the day, again यहाँ पे day immediately preceding the day from which he became liable to pay tax under section 9. ठीक है? Again इसमें numbers चाहिए, आपको clear है ये? So once he moves from composition scheme to regular scheme, so when he became liable to pay tax under section 9, that is from the day when he moves from the from the composition scheme to regular scheme, तब से उसको क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा ऑन ऑल द आईटी इनपुट्स, सेमी फिनिश्ड गुड्स, फिनिश्ड गुड्स एंड कैपिटल गुड्स। इन सब का क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा। ठीक है, ठीक है। बट फॉर आई नो स्वाति चौहान, तेज प्रकाश, आप तो क्लियर है, तो एक क्वेश्चन ले लेते हैं। मिस्टर बिट्टू, this registered under composition scheme. इसका बिजनेस चल रहा है सिंस 2022-23 बिजनेस कर रहा है बंदा, कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम में है। This turnover crossed 1.5 crores on 1st January 2020 in fact. When he changes scheme, yes, when he changes the scheme, when he became liable to pay tax, when he became liable for registration, बोला ही नहीं है यहाँ। When he became liable to pay tax under section 9 declared. Okay, so his turnover crossed 1.5 crores on 1st January 2025. 1.54 maybe 54.5. Yeah, ठीक है, very good. 1.5, sometimes mistakes also are good. And this turnover 1.5 crores on 25th of December 2024. Okay. So can you claim credit of stock held on any date of 24-25? If yes, then of which dates stock ITC stock? बताइए. Yes sir. Yes sir. अभी भी आ रही है क्या? प्रोड्यूसर चेंज किया है. अभी ठीक है सर. अभी बेटर है. ठीक है. ठीक है सर, यहाँ पे ठीक होना चाहिए अभी. ओके. So, okay. So Mr. Bittu was registered under composition scheme since 2022-23. Okay. Now his turnover limit has crossed 1.5 crores on 1st January 2025, and his limit has crossed as 1.5 crores on 25th December. So can he claim the credit of the stock? So everybody is saying yes, he can claim. As on what date? As on 24th December. Correct. So most of you all have given the correct answer that yes, as on 24th December. और नहीं, और 26th December तो होगा ही नहीं, because it is preceding the date from which he became liable. He became liable for registration on 25th. So preceding का मतलब पहले है, succeeding का मतलब बाद में है. Preceding is one day before. So one day before the 25th December is 24th December. So 24th December से वो claim, जो 24th December का स्टॉक रहेगा उसके ऊपर वो क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकता है. ठीक है. यस यस. सो लेकिन यहाँ पे इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट ये है कि सिर्फ इनपुट्स और फिनिश गुड्स वगैरह का नहीं, ही कैन क्लेम क्रेडिट ऑफ इवन कैपिटल गुड्स। तो जो भी उसके कैपिटल गुड्स रहेंगे उसके ऊपर भी वो क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकता है। यस चौहान, 18(1)(a and 18(1)(b is inputs, semi-finished goods and raw materials. Inputs, raw materials, semi-finished goods and finished goods. 18(1)(a and b में, 18(1)(c और d में he can claim credit of the capital goods also. ठीक है, that is 18(1)(c. Now we'll move to 18(1)(d). 18(1)(d saying simple कि सेम जैसे कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम था वैसे ही, इफ अ पर्सन हु वाज लायबल टू टैक्स, नॉट लायबल टू टैक्स, बट वो अभी लायबल हो गया, मतलब पहले व्हाट ही वाज गुड्स ही वाज सेलिंग, सेम गुड्स इज सेलिंग टुडे, पहले उसका रेट 0 था विच इज एग्जेम्प्टेड था और अभी टैक्सेबल हो गया। सो ही वाज अंडर एग्जेम्प्टेड कैटेगरी, नाउ ही इज अंडर टैक्सेबल कैटेगरी। So, a registered taxable person shall, subject to such conditions and restrictions as may be prescribed, be entitled to take credit of input in respect of inputs held in stock, inputs contained in semi-finished goods, and the finished goods which is held in stock, and the capital goods which is exclusively used for such exempt supply on the day immediately preceding the day from which such supply became taxable supply. जैसे कॉम्पोजिशन से रेगुलर में एक दिन में ट्रांसफर हुआ था, वंस हिज लिमिट गॉट क्रॉस्ड, वैसे ही जैसे रेट 0% था और गवर्नमेंट ने बोल दिया कि कल से आपका प्रोडक्ट पे 5% लगेगा रेट, सो फ्रॉम एग्जेम्प्टेड कैटेगरी ही बिकेम अ टैक्सेबल कैटेगरी। ठीक है, सो वंस ही मूव फ्रॉम एग्जेम्प्टेड कैटेगरी टू टैक्सेबल कैटेगरी, तो फिर he can claim the benefit, he can claim the benefit of taking the credit, because वो जो goods हैं पहले फ्री में बेच सकते हैं विदाउट जीएसटी, फ्री में मतलब विदाउट जीएसटी, और अभी क्या है उसके ऊपर जीएसटी लगेगा, तो जब जीएसटी आउटपुट लगेगा उसमें क्रेडिट भी मिलना चाहिए। सो दैट्स व्हाई दे आर सेइंग दैट अर्लियर व्हेन इट वाज exempted and now it is becoming taxable, so you can claim the credit of it, you will be able to claim the credit of it। ठीक है, सेम 18(1)(a and b is same, voluntary registration, compulsory registration, voluntary registration. 18(1)(c and d is also same, from composition scheme to regular scheme is 18(1)(c, 18(1)(d is from exempted to taxable. Clear? Simple. Same 18(1)(a और b में सिर्फ इनपुट्स सेमी फिनिश गुड्स एंड फिनिश गुड्स, 18(1)(c और d में भी सेम, सेमी रॉ मटेरियल्स, फिनिश गुड, रॉ मटेरियल, सेमी फिनिश गुड्स, फिनिश गुड्स एंड कैपिटल गुड्स। Correct. When he ceases in exempt category. Perfect. Yes. Awesome. तो इन चारों के लिए हमने बेसिक जान लिया है, अभी कुछ और कंडीशंस हैं। What it says is, इसका समरी पहले कर लेंगे। Liable for registration, जैसे एक एग्जाम्पल पे, he's crossed the limit of 20 lakhs and he applies for registration within 30 days, so 17(1)(a, then input services मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, this is very very important। इनपुट पे मिलेगा, input services, in all of those slides you have said inputs which will includes inputs, semi-finished goods and finished goods, but input services नहीं मिलेगी। इनपुट सर्विसेज चारों कैटेगरी में नहीं मिलेगा, कैपिटल गुड्स यहाँ पे नहीं मिल रहा है, दोनों में 17(1)(a एंड 17(1)(b में नहीं मिल रहा है, 17(1)(c और d में मिल रहा है, राइट। स्टॉक टू बी कंसिडर्ड एज ऑन व्हाट डेट इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग द डे फ्रॉम व्हिच ही बिकम लायबल फॉर पेड टैक्स। 17(1)(a, 17(1)(b voluntary registration, inputs available, input services and capital goods not available, date immediately preceding the date of grant of registration, कॉम्पोजिशन स्कीम टू रेगुलर स्कीम 17(1)(c, इनपुट्स पे मिल रहा है, सर्विसेज पे नहीं मिल रहा है, कैपिटल गुड्स में मिलेगा, एज ऑन व्हाट डेट इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग द डे फ्रॉम व्हिच द सप्लायर इज लायबल टू पे टैक्स अंडर रेगुलर स्कीम। एग्जेम्प्ट सप्लाईज बिकेम टैक्सेबल सप्लाईज, ओके, एग्जेम्प्ट सप्लाई बिकेम टैक्सेबल सप्लाईज, इनपुट्स पे अवेलेबल, सर्विसेज पे नॉट अवेलेबल, कैपिटल गुड्स पे अवेलेबल only, but there is a very good catch here. It is only on such capital, only for the capital goods which is used exclusively for exempt supply. हर किसी कैपिटल गुड्स पे नहीं मिलेगा. One is such goods which he was using exclusively for claiming exemption. In stock to be considered as on which date immediately preceding the date from which the exempt supply became taxable. Any doubts in this slide? Because this is a summary of what we have made in the discussion post the P link. Right? Credit on capital goods. When we say credit on capital goods is available in case of 181C and 181D, the credit on capital goods shall be reduced by 5% per quarter and part thereof. Capital goods आपने जब लिया था, understand this. When you bought the capital goods, you had bought it for 1 lakh. एक लैपटॉप खरीदा था 1 lakh पे. That time, your supply of goods was exempted. Okay. So you have not claimed the input tax credit on the capital goods because when you purchased it, all your supplies were exempted. You were exclusively using it only for exempt supply. This category and C, exempt supply became taxable. When you purchased the laptop, you were supplying goods which were taxable at 0 rate. ठीक है. एक साल बाद वो कैपिटल गुड्स आपने जो परचेज किए हैं और अभी जो आप एग्जेम्प्ट सप्लाई कर रहे हो, एग्जेम्प्ट सप्लाई टैक्सेबल सप्लाई होती है. Now you have used the capital goods for 1 year and now it is getting taxable. And the provision says you will be available to claim the credit of the capital goods. Yes, but the usage what has happened for 1 year, उतने का depreciation जो है उतना कम करना पड़ेगा. So you have to reduce the depreciation by 5% per quarter. तो 1 lakh का asset का GST credit कितना मिलेगा at 18% rate on the capital goods? 18,000, correct? 18,000 credit था उस capital goods पे. Now, when you bought the capital goods, 18,000 का credit आपने नहीं लिया because you were not eligible. एक साल बाद आप credit ले सकते हो. तो कितना ले सकते हो? पूरा 18,000? Can you claim on the full 18,000? Do you think so? 18,000 minus 20%. Perfect. All dot answer by Ishan Bisht. कि 5% per quarter भैया आप reduce करो. एक साल में कितने quarter होते हैं? 4 quarter. So 4 quarters you reduce 18,000 minus 20%. Okay. Gives it as 14,400. So you can claim credit of 14,400. That will be the case for 18.1C and 18.1D. When you're going from composition to regular and from exempt to taxable, you have to reduce 5% per quarter for the plant and machinery. अगर 10 months के लिए यूज किया तो 10 months में कितने quarter? 15%. कैसे भैया? How many quarters are there for 10 months? Read this. Credit on capital goods shall be reduced by 5% per quarter and part thereof. So it will not be 3 quarters, it will still be 4 quarters because it is 3 quarters and 1 month. Any part of the quarter will also be considered as a full quarter. So even if you use for 10 months, 3 quarters cover हो गए और एक quarter का 1 month हो गया. So that part of the quarter also will be full quarter. So you will still reduce either 10 months or 12 months. You will reduce by 5% into 4 quarters only. Clear? but not still put into use. See, that is put into use concept is there under income tax. Depreciation can be claimed from the day when it is put into use. In this case, if you have not put into use, but ITC will get lapsed, man. ITC will get lapsed, it will not be from the date of put to use. This is only for capital goods. Yes, yes. सिर्फ capital goods के लिए, stock के लिए नहीं है. सिर्फ capital goods के लिए ये calculation करना पड़ेगा. क्लियर यहाँ तक एवरीबडी इज अंडरस्टूड कि कैपिटल गुड्स के लिए आपको रिड्यूस करना पड़ेगा 5% पर क्वार्टर. एंड सेकेंड अदर कंडीशंस जो हम इनपुट्स वगैरह लेंगे, राइट, only for inputs. However, the tax invoice for these inputs should not be older than 1 year from the date of issue. क्या मतलब हुआ? सिंपल मतलब हुआ इसका तो date of crossing threshold 13th May, applied for registration 13th June, received the registration on 25th June. Okay, so I am talking about the case of 18(1)(a) situation. In 18(1)(a) situation, this is this. तो आपको क्रेडिट मिलेगा as on what date? We have discussed this. Means put to use concept is not there, still 14,400. Correct. We become liable to tax when we cross threshold limit. Correct. And when you take registration voluntary, even then you have to pay the tax. When you register, either voluntary or involuntary, from the day you take registration, you have to claim the credit. So in this case, we said that date of crossing threshold is 13 weeks. From 12th week, as on 12th week, what is the stock? You can claim the credit. Okay, so you have a stock of 1 lakh rupees. Okay, now this stock का breakup अब देखो, क्योंकि you have to give the breakup saying that for which invoices you're claiming it. Because invoice A तो कैसे claim करेंगे? So you have to see the invoices for this 1 lakh and claim the credit. Right? So your stock is 1 lakh rupees. Now when you break up this stock, you are seeing that as on 1st May 2025, you purchase stock of 10,000, which is comprised in this 1 lakh. You purchase stock of on the 1st of January 2024, which is 20,000, which is also comprising the stock. And you also have a stock of 1st June 2024, which is of 80,000 rupees, which is also there in the stock. And you also have a stock of 31st of December 2023, which is also there in this stock. इस स्टॉक का ब्रेकअप जब निकाल रहे हो, then you are able to see कि ये स्टॉक कौन से परचेज का बड़ा हुआ है. The stock of 1 lakh is lying from these purchases here. Now, what all credits you can claim from this? Yes, 1 lakh will not apply in case of capital goods, only in case of increase. So this is the stock as on 12th May 2020. Yes, 1 year will not apply in case of caffeine disease. And so 1 year, 10,000 only eligible. 10,000 on now. Nahi, wrong. So जो भी stock है as on the date prior to the date when he's crossing the threshold, when he became liable for registration, from उसका stock claim कर सकते हैं, right, as on 12th. But so our cutoff date is 12th, not any other date, right? 12th के एक साल पहले मतलब 13th May 2024 के बाद 13th May 2024 के बाद जो भी स्टॉक है उसका हम क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकते हैं, उसके पहले का हम क्रेडिट नहीं करेंगे, नहीं कर सकते हैं. फाइन. तो फिर व्हाट ऑल क्रेडिट्स कैन वी क्लेम इन दिस? On 60,000 ITC can be claimed? Yes, only 60,000. 20,000, 60,000, 10,000. We cannot avail credit on only 31st December 23. Wrong. 1,70,000. ये 1,70,000 कहाँ से आया भाई? 70,000. Tej Chauhan is given correct answer. On 1st May 2025, we can claim it. Correct. This is claimable. He had copied it. Yeah. So आपको कौन से क्रेडिट का क्लेम मिलेगा ये बताइए. आफ्टर 12th May 2024 कौन सा है भाई? Only 60,000. 1st May 25 is what? Is it not after 12th May 24? 10,000 and 60,000. Correct. This and this you can claim the credit. First May 25 and 1st June 24. इसका क्रेडिट आपको मिलेगा. So you can claim credit of 70,000 into 18%. Clear? Only 1st May 25. नहीं, एक साल पहले 12th May के एक साल पिछवाड़े चाहिए आप, बैकवर्ड जाइए और जो भी डेट्स कवर होते हैं वो सब आप क्लेम कर सकते हो. ओमकार, आर यू क्लियर? आप बताइए तेज प्रकाश.
सर गुड इवनिंग सर.
गुड इवनिंग.
सर आपने कैपिटल गुड्स में कहा कि 5% हर क्वार्टर में से रिड्यूस करना है, तो एक साल में 20% हुआ, तो अगर 5 साल चले जाएंगे तो असेट जीरो हो जाएगी, तो उसकी 5 साल के बाद कोई क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगी.
करेक्ट.
अगर
5 साल आपने यूज कर लिया, क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा. आपने जितना यूज करना था उतना पूरा यूज कर लिया, निचोड़ लिया उस असेट को, अभी बचा क्या है क्रेडिट लेने की.
ओके, थैंक यू सर.
Okay, so any stock which is for those invoices which is 1 year prior to the date of the threshold cutoff date, उसके एक साल पहले का इनवॉइस है उसका आप क्रेडिट ले सकते हो, उसके पहले का क्रेडिट वी कैन नॉट टेक. ठीक है. We can get credit of 13 May 24 also if there is an invoice. Yes. So facts ये है if you have any invoice after just 1 year prior, you can claim the credit. And declaration of inputs. Third condition is you have to make a declaration once you move from the regular exempted to regular and from composition to regular. You have to make a declaration. And in the declaration, you have to give the details of inputs and capital goods within 30 days, right? After you move it, आपके जो भी स्टॉक है आप उसके क्रेडिट ले रहे हो उसके डिटेल्स देना चाहिए. एंड इफ द वैल्यू इज मोर देन 2 lakhs देन एज अ सीए और अ सीडब्ल्यू वी हैव अपॉर्चुनिटी दैट मोर दैट क्रेडिट अगर मोर देन 2 लाख है तो फिर उसको हम सर्टिफाई करेंगे तभी उसको क्रेडिट मिलेगा. राइट, देयर इज अ अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर अस देयर. No, madam, Ms. P, this is not applicable for capital goods. This is applicable only for inputs and input services. Input services you cannot link input, semi-finished goods, and finished goods. And for this, you have to consider this. What is the declaration? Declaration saying that this is my value of stock, this is my date of invoice. I am satisfying the conditions of section 18. So that's a declaration because हर एक चीज का officers will not come and check. So it is all dependent on us. We have to give this declaration. If we give this declaration, based on this declaration, they will give it a credit. That is 18. Now, 18.4 says where the registered person opt to pay tax under composition scheme or where a taxable surplus becomes exempt supply, then what he has to do. So we discussed 18.1. We will discuss about 18.4 in the next session. Any doubts till here? The reduction of 5% on capital goods is applicable for composition supplier also. Yes, for composition supplier and exempt to taxable supplier. For both, it is applicable. So it is within 30 days from the date of being eligible for registration. The within 30 days from the date of become liable for registration. 13(1)(a), yes. CVD, CWD is capital work in progress. CWD नहीं हो, CWP capital work in progress. 18(1)(b, हाँ 18(1)(b) में क्या डाउट है आपको सुमित? First is for stock only, not for capital goods, right? Correct. CWA क्या full form क्या है? Capital work in progress. CWP capital work in progress. Okay, so small things we understood, but we understood it deeply with example, with sorting out, so that we can remember it even for a later point of time. Voluntary registration means who's not crossed the limit, but who wants to take the registration. उसका मतलब है voluntary registration. Compulsory registration मतलब उसका threshold touch हो गया and he has to take registration. That is compulsory registration. When it is not compulsory registration, he is not liable to registration. उसका turnover सिर्फ 10 lakhs है, but he will still take registration. उसे credit चाहिए, whatever reason he's taken registration. That is called as voluntary registration. Okay. Fine. Thank you very much. We'll see again on Thursday. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand.